Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with day 15 of Follow Sketch February, a hop started by Sandy with Scrapping Reflections, also State Goddess here on YouTube. And this sketch is by Melinda Spinks, I think that says. My copy is kind of blurry. And so it is 3 pictures in a journal space, and this is going to be one of the weirdest layouts that I've done. And a super flattering picture of me eating a Krabby Patty. Long story, or I'll shorten it in just a minute, but I have some stamp sets that I've pulled out and some embellishments from Paper Studios and Miss Grossman's, and this color kaleidoscope paper pad from Hobby Lobby. And I've got some mixed media that are some ink pads that I'm going to use. And of course I wanted to bring this little hamburger grilling kind of cooking thing because of the Krabby Patty. And I'm wanting to use a bunch of scraps. I don't use as many scraps as I would like to, but that's okay. I'm still getting the things used up, which is really the goal. So I have my papers, my embellishments, my inks, my pictures, and of course this sketch. So let's see how this goes. Okay, this goes a little wild and crazy. I originally planned on putting this on a white, not a solid white background, but on a white grid background that you'll see here in a minute. And I decide, because it is SpongeBob, and if you don't know anything about SpongeBob, he lives in a pineapple under the sea. And I thought I would do blue because it's under the sea. And I brought in the pineapples intentionally, like that. I came into this knowing I was going to use these pineapples in some way, form, or fashion. So I decided to just go absolute color. And I'm not leaving them this way. Here we go. So, I mean, like, this is more color than I normally use, at least this much. Like, I love to use color in inks and things, but I don't normally have this much color. There's usually a lot of white or black to hone things down and not be like so bam in your face. But this layout is pretty in your face. But that's okay. They're wild and crazy pictures, and it was a random decision that I made to create this layout. So it's hard to see now in the sketch that you can see up here in the top left corner. It's easier, but the copy I had that I shared in the beginning, it was a little harder to see those strips of paper. And so I made them 2 3/4 inches wide because I wanted to make sure I had a little space for a gap in between. And I did end up, because there was so much color on this layout, I did end up matting it onto a white, what I was originally planning on using as my background, which is that paper that you see right there that I'm working on now. And I am using a stamp, a notepad stamp, Technique Tuesday, and I've never used it before, this, and so I stamped that out. Now there's already grid lines on there, and I know I could use this for journaling, but I wanted to put the lines on there so I could actually write a journal here, and I do. It's very bright and colorful with the grid lines, but I'm okay with that. And so I'm sorry, I just keep looking at this layout and I like it. It's just different than my norm. So I'm using the stamp set I got from Amazon. It's stitching. And I felt like it looked a lot like the little stems that there are up in the, or down in the bottom left corner coming up. And I decided that I would use this little, almost looks like a barbed stitch, and use that for that, that same effect. So I put 6 different little sprouts of that coming out, and they're going to come up above my pictures on the orange and the purple strip. And then I also have them coming out towards the bottom, which is what I'm doing now, so that they'll be below the picture as well, just like in the sketch. Now I'm not doing a big floral because instead of putting a flower or a heart on here where the there, I think there's hearts on the sketch. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah. So there's hearts on the sketch. I'm going to use something else. So first, I'm going to put my pictures down. Now, in the sketch, the pictures are separated, but because I made mine a little wider, because I wanted to make sure that I had the color background behind the picture that is matching with the strip it's on, but then I also matted it on that white plaid so it would stand out. It's a little bit wider, so I'm overlapping everything. The journaling space is below the first and second picture, and then the third picture or the second picture is on top of the last one because there's a lot of table space with the Krabby Patty box. So here's what I'm using instead of hearts or flowers. I am putting pineapples on the end of these stems. I have these La Petites, which is Paper Studio, and they're from 2018. I bought them, I couldn't tell you when, but I got them on clearance for 99 cents, so that's even more awesome. And I've used a few of them, and I can definitely see using them in the future because they're just a little something fun to add on a layout. But I felt like this was a really good opportunity to use some of them because it's fitting. And this is a fun, silly layout. I mean, I am eating a Krabby Patty, and I mean a big Krabby Patty. As you can tell by the way I'm holding it, it is not a trick picture. They are huge. I mean, not as big as a normal burger, but they are large. Now, while I am faffing about putting these Miss Grossman's like cooking, grilling, and hamburger stickers down, I will just say my dad and my daughter had this bond over SpongeBob years ago. She's 21, so like 20 years ago. And so my dad and her watched SpongeBob together all the time. And he used to always buy Krabby Patties as a treat for my kids and my niece and nephew. And so he used to always put them in their stocking. And ever since he's been gone, you know, we don't do the Krabby Patties. And so my brother-in-law, being the goofball that he is, bought me these massive Krabby Patties. And the very first picture has the tag that says to Christy from Bikini Bottom Crew. So I just had to document this silliness. So while I was running my mouth, I got out my ink pad and I used this little star stamp, which came from that Technique Tuesday stamp set. And I used candied apple, wilted violet, and spiced marmalade to do color on color or tone on tone stars all over all of them. At some point, I think I shared with you I'm about to share with you the beautiful tattoos I gave myself accidentally. Luckily, it didn't mess up my layout, but I have some red stars on my wrist. I've washed them really good and they're still a little bit there. So for all the other inking, I'm using chipped sapphire, which is what I use to do the little stitch branches or stitch stems that I did, as well as I stamp "this was ... on the top of my journal and recorded on the top of that picture of me and the Krabby Patty. So, and then I'm going to start journaling down here. I've put like a little hamburger and fries on top of the Krabby Patty picture, and I've put some different like picnic basket and cooking utensils, a spatula, things like that, all over the bottom part of the layout. There's my new tattoos. Ah, bless. And then, like I said, I'm just using a Zig pen to journal about my sister's family buying me these ridiculous Krabby Patties, which were, by the way, disgusting. The texture is yucky, and the pickles apple flavored, which is not my favorite. I don't like apple candy. And so there you go. Anywho, I used up some scraps. I got some bright papers. I documented this silly, fun experience, and I got another layout created. And so I am thrilled with that. This is a heavy layout. That paper is super thick, and I love it. I used it a lot for Disney. So, anyway, I hope that you all have enjoyed this silly layout. And I think I will do this again with maybe a more serious picture and not such insane colors. But I did have fun creating it, even with my new wrist tattoos. And so I hope you will go to Scrapping Reflections on Facebook to check that out. You can use the hashtag to look for others who are creating with this on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And I hope you all have a great day and happy scrapping.